What's up, Scrappy peeps? It's Adele from Inkie Quill, and we are diving into some 12 by 12 today. I am slowly warming back up to 12 by 12. I have recently been doing a whole lot more of them than I had been. It's just been an adjustment period. Have you ever had that when you've been away from a particular project or a particular style for a while, and you feel rusty for a really long time when you jump back into it again? But I am really liking it again, especially with pattern paper backgrounds, which I didn't think I would do, because if you're an OG inklet, I always swore that I would never do pattern paper backgrounds because I found them too overwhelming. But here I am getting all patterny. So for today's page, I wanted to do a page about one of my good scrappy friends. This is Anita, and we always take silly photos together. And these were some photos that were taken at her Flutter by Designs retreat last year. And I wanted to do a page because I really like these photos. They make me smile. And also because I don't get to see my scrappy crew very often. We only see each other a few times a year. So we try to take as many photos as we can. So for this month, I'm actually using some Inkie printables. I thought I would give you a bit of a peek as to what the May printables were over on Patreon, and this is the collection kit. I have a different theme each month, and this month I went for a bright rainbowy style, and there were 10 pages of printable backgrounds, a collage sheet, 2 pages of journaling cards, an art print, and actually there were 3 art prints. Yes, 3 art prints last month. So there were a ton of goodies, and I thought I'd do a layout using them. Usually I do a double process video using them each month over there, but I thought I would do one over here on YouTube because I don't often share them over here, just because I don't like to spruik it very often, and I just feel weird talking about them, but I really wanted to use them for this particular page. Because Anita, if you know Flutter by Designs, if you've seen their products before, it's an Aussie company, and everything's very bold and bright. And whenever I think of Anita, I think of paint. She's very painty, and I wanted to use hot pink because she was the one that actually got me onto this hot pink that I picked up from a local $2 shop. And I wanted to use that on a page, and I'm also using one of her stencils too. So because I was using yellow on top of hot pink paint, I wanted to make sure that the yellow was really going to be yellowy and not get sucked into that pink color and not be able as bright and not be able to be seen as well. So I am using a sponge to sponge on some white gesso first. And then because the sponging is such a thin layer, it dries really quickly, and I went over the top with yellow, and it gave this really cool effect that some of the parts have a white ring around the outside of the yellow, and I really like the look of that, so that was very sweet. Also used a love stencil by her as well, and then I'm trying to figure out how to position my photos if I want the whole cluster to be up a little bit or down a little bit, and I decided to have a heavier splodge of the paint in the background, the best technical term I can use to describe it, a heavier bit of paint on the right hand side because I had those double photos over there, and I thought that would work out well. I felt like everything was a bit flat, and so I wanted a bit of texture. So I decided to go tissue paper ruffly, and I always turn my paper so that it's this way. It's so much easier. You've just got to be careful that the tail of the tissue paper doesn't fall into the double-sided tape that is on the page already. I have done that many a time and had to rip my tissue paper, which isn't too fun. And then I just put some more tape on in a moment to cover up the adhesive because you can see it through the tissue paper. I have been falling in love again with this punch. Now, this is probably one of the earliest punches that I bought, and I think I originally bought it maybe before I even started scrapbooking. I think it was when I was taking card making classes, and I wanted a border punch, even though I never made any cards at home. I only did them at the classes, and I bought this one. I'm pretty sure it's that old, and it just comes in so handy. I definitely want to, I think I talked about this in a recent video actually, I definitely want to get a few more border punches because there's something that you can slip under photo layers and they just give a little zhuzhy, something exciting. I used to be obsessed with those decorative scissors. Did anyone else use them in their scrapbooking? Actually, I really need to find this album, but my first ever experience with scrapbooking was probably when I was about not that old, maybe 15, 14, something like that. And I bought a Winnie the Pooh scrapbooking kit, and it came with frames and paper and some stickers. And I actually made a few layouts, and a lot of those photos were cut with those very fancy decorative scissors. I think they were also the original photos, which makes it even more fun. I need to find that album. It's somewhere at my parents', somewhere hidden away in a box probably. But yes, I think I've always been partial to punches and kind of a decorative way of cutting things. I used to try and steal my grandmother's pinking shears, and I used to use them on paper because she used them for fabric only, and I used to get in trouble for that, but I didn't stop doing that, and now I realize the frustration of using fabric scissors on paper. I completely understand her anguish. The things we realize when we grow a little bit older. So I was trying to work out whether some of these photos should be a bit of a jaunty angle, and I decided that the main photo was going to stay straight just because it was bigger and bulkier, and it just worked out as I don't know, I feel like because it's a normal, I say normal, our faces are pretty silly a lot of the time when we're together, but because it's a typical smiling photo, that should stay straight, and then the silly photos can be on a bit of a wonky angle because they are a bit wonky in their expressions. And so I'm just popping these over here. I did leave a little bit of a gap between them. I just felt like I needed something to separate those two photos just because the backgrounds are identical. They're both bushy green backgrounds, and I wanted to differentiate them slightly. So then I'm trying to figure out what embellies to do and also where to put the embellies. So that background piece that has the joy, happiness, love, calmness, that was actually one of the journaling cards. It was a 4x6 journaling card that I created, and I printed it as a whole sized piece. And whenever I upload the collection, I always upload it in a few different formats. Oh, little Miss Violet woke up halfway through this video, so there's a little Violet cameo. She has socks on her hands because it's cold here, and she also pulls her dummy out. We call them dummies in Australia, pacifiers. She also pulls that out while she's sleeping. So we take off her socks, boo, and she's ready for the day. So back to the layout. As I was saying, I saved the printable collection in a few different file formats depending on how you print things. So the journaling cards are always saved in a PDF, a Word doc, and then individually as image JPEG files as well. So I decided to print that one large, and I really like the look of it. It was something that I also want to try and use in a junk journal, I think folded in half. It'd be a really fun page to include in my next journal, which I'm so close so close to being able to make. I'm really excited because I'm in need of a new journal. I think I'm just a bit bored with the one that I'm currently in. Do you ever get that if you are a art journaler as well? Do you ever just get to that point in a project where you're just done? I've probably got maybe 3 pages left now, and I finished 3 yesterday, and I thought I was done, but then I found 3 sneaky pages, and I was like, no, come on, I just want to flick through this and have it all painty and finished. But it's getting there. It's getting there slowly, maybe in a week or 2. I'm doing a little cluster down here on the right hand side, and I've just pulled in a little rainbow. And then that happy was from a collection that I had sitting on my desk, as is that little tiny word sticker. And then I needed something that was a bit 3D-ish, so I grabbed some of these little wooden buttons from Pink Fresh. And if you've watched a lot of my Grab 5s, you'll know I have a love-hate relationship with wood buttons. It's more on the hate side a lot of the time, but I am slowly learning to embrace them slightly. I still have a lot in my stash that I need to use up, but they're a supply that I definitely sometimes struggle with. I wanted to do a bit of journaling, and I didn't know where to stick this little label from the collage sheet, which says my happy place. And so I decided to stick it over the word calmness, because let's be real, there's not very many calm things when the 2 of us get together, where we have a lot of fun and lots of laughs, and there's not a lot of calm serenity going on when our scrappy crew gets together. So I added my journaling, and I was figuring out what to use for my title, and I felt like I needed a bold title colour. I was considering gold because I do like a bit of gold glitter, but I think in the end black was a good match because my friend's wearing a dark hoodie, and then there's a little bit of black text in the paper layers and in that label. And I think if I had used a colour, it would have competed too much with all of the bright colours in that stripy patterned printable background. And yeah, I just felt like black was the best option to go with for this title. So I decided to call it Utter Weirdos because we are, or no, Absolute Weirdos. I realised I didn't have the right spacing for that. So I decided to call it Absolute Weirdos because we are. And I am trying to figure out also if I should do a doodly border. And I think in the end I do. But all in all, I have to admit I am falling back into the love of 12 by 12 layouts. I think I've done 3 years of the 9 by 12, and there will still be 9 by 12 layouts that pop up in all of my scrapbook albums. And there's a few videos coming up actually that are all 9 by 12s and 8.5 by 11s. And I just didn't think that I would ever find the love for 12 by 12 again, but we are back there. I'd be really interested in the comments to know what is your typical layout size that you go for. Do you only do one size, or do you mix it up but prefer one the most? And is there a size that you either don't like, and why? Or is there a size that you haven't tried before that you would be interested in trying? And maybe if that's the case, why haven't you tried it yet? Is it because you don't want to get page protectors that size, or it's bigger than you're used to, or smaller, or a different size layout like a rectangle compared to a square? Let's chat layout sizes and shapes, because yeah, it's interesting how we tend to go in. Well, I know I tend to go in kind of ebbs and flows of really liking one particular thing and then coming out of it and being scared to go back to it and then really loving it again. And I think it really has taken me, I'd say 4 years to get back into 12 by 12s. It's been quite a while, 3 or 4 years. It has taken a while to get back into it. I wanted to add some splatters. I was considering black, but then I thought, that's going to go everywhere and not look good. It's going to ruin this layout. So I decided on some hot pink splats. So I'm just using my Jane Davenport watercolors and cleverly covering my photo this time, because there's been a few incidences recently, including an upcoming video, where I accidentally splattered on someone's face. Whoops-a-days. But yeah, today there were no splatters unaccounted for, which was very good. So thanks so much for watching today, peeps. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will be back tomorrow with I'm going back with more splatters. What were these ones? Oh, yellow. I did some yellow as well, just for another little pop. Jazz hands. We're at the end of the video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you've been enjoying the Inkie June Marathon. It helps my channel out, and it helps me be discovered by new inklets that might like scrapbooking but haven't stumbled upon my channel yet. And I will see you tomorrow on Let's Get Inky with another video. Bye.